Thousands of years ago, the Yijing, or Book of Changes, began as a divination method for receiving guidance from the spirit world, often from deceased ancestors. That sounds a little weird to me at first, until you ask people whether they've ever sensed the presence of a departed loved one. Over half of those surveyed in the U.S. and Britain say, yes, they have. Carl Jung employed this mysterious Yijing oracle as a potent psychological tool for developing intuition and self-awareness. It became a way to communicate with the unconscious. The Yijing is sometimes called the sage because you find yourself engaged in a very interactive conversation with wisdom. And the special wisdom of a sage is knowing the best action to take in any given situation. We've listed the Yijing as one of your teachers because this class was its idea. This class is a little like the famous novel and TV drama, The Man in the High Castle. That story was written by the Yijing. The brilliant science fiction author Philip K. Dick asked many questions of the Yijing, cast the coins, and wrote down the story as instructed. He even included some of the hexagrams he threw as part of the story. So that means this ancient book co-wrote a profound modern novel. It's quite good. I've read it several times. Years ago, I complained to the Yijing, my mistake, that I could find no simple, modern, practically oriented, user-friendly introduction to the Yijing to give to people I introduced to the Yijing. The sage, via the reading, suggested that I make one myself. So this whole class is an example of the Yijing in action, as were many related decisions, including which camera to buy to shoot this picture that you're watching right now. We were first advised by the Yijing to wait on our purchase for the time to change. All right. A few weeks later, to our happy surprise, a much improved version of the camera we were considering was released, and we bought that one. No one person can master the many faces of this book. I try to demonstrate it to others, mostly out of gratitude, because the Yijing has enriched my life more than any single form of therapy, or growth work, or spiritual practice. Oh yeah, and it saved my life. So let me continue to introduce your teacher, Mr. I, pronounced E, Mr. Yijing, the sage. He's an older fellow, at 3,000 to 5,000 years. The best introduction I know is, in my experience, Yijing readings give voice to the inner awareness that I arrive at when I spend long enough in reflection and meditation. The Yijing seems to mirror our unconscious knowledge. This is information that is normally only available through intuition, dreams, visions, or possibly hypnosis. Yijing images help us hear our own intuition. I first met this teacher as a total skeptic when I was completing a double doctorate in social science. I am now fully convinced of the Yijing's value, and we rely upon it daily. Carl Jung wrote, I am concerned only with the astonishing fact that the hidden qualities of the moment become legible in the hexagram of an Yijing reading. It is this hidden quality of any moment that separates what we later call good luck and great timing from bad luck and tragic timing. You could compare the Yijing's mapping of the ever-changing qualities of time to a weather report regarding your question, when will the conditions be favorable? Now, it's obvious when we move through space that it includes both open pathways and obstructions to movement. That's why we walk around a couch and avoid the coffee table when crossing a room. There are open passages and obstructions to movement in time as well. Some moments are not right to advance a given cause, and failure is virtually certain, but we can't often tell. One should not walk into the sofa in space, and one should not ask for a raise on a Monday morning with a hungover boss. That's an obstruction in time. When changes reoccur regularly, We learn to plant in spring and harvest in fall. Where the timing of change is variable, intuition and the I Ching can really help. My 40 years of experience with the I Ching has convinced me that it absolutely works. But do not take my word for it. This class is designed to empower you to test the I Ching for yourself. Being trained as a scientist, I doubted, inverted the answers, tested it, studied it rigorously for years. The I Ching is a teacher you can monitor and test for yourself. You be the judge.
As for me, as I said earlier, with my eclectic background and interests as a retired software engineer, as well as an educator, artist, spiritual seeker, and lifelong learner, I've devoted many years of my life to my own personal and spiritual development. I've tried a number of different divination methods over the years and have regularly used some of them for advice and guidance on life questions both big and small. The methods I've used the most often include tarot cards, a number of different specialized oracle card decks, and most especially the I Ching, which I first learned over a decade ago when Ron introduced me to it, and I have used it ever since. So far, I've found the I Ching to be the most powerful of any of the divination systems that I've used regularly. Unlike Ron, I've personally never been particularly skeptical of divination tools, since my own intuition has simply always told me that they work. Now, even with my computer science background, math wasn't always my favorite subject. But even so, in the case of the I Ching, I know that with 64 different hexagrams, each with 6 possible changing lines, the number of possible answers that you can get from tossing 3 coins together 6 different times is pretty large. In fact, that number is so large that the fact that when I toss the coins, I consistently get answers from the I Ching that very obviously and specifically address the question I asked, and that resonate internally for me as true, could not possibly be due to chance alone. That's why I, too, am fully convinced of the I Ching's value. Personally, I don't really feel a burning need to know how or why the I Ching works so well. I'm just glad that it does.